So we're going to start in Sukhasana, which is Sanskrit for an easy seated pose. So whichever posture feels good for you. I'm going to come into a cross-legged posture because it's familiar to me as a posture where I settle in, I settle down, my thoughts start to calm, and I feel well grounded into the floor. So I'm coming into lotus pose. You might just want to come into cross-legged. And as you just settle down into your mat, I'd like you to remind yourself of what you're about to do. Yoga, okay, so there's an element of physical activity involved. And there's also an element of kind of inquiry about how you're doing. And it's a chance to check in with your feelings, where you are right now. So there's a concept called Gunas in yogic philosophy and background. Not Goonies, although that's a good aide-memoir. And the three Gunas, we need all of them, but we need them to be kind of in moderation and in balance. So maybe you're going to close your eyes now, and I would like you just to check in, perhaps ask yourself in the third person, how are you doing today? And see where you feel your sensations, and whether they're comfortable or slightly uncomfortable, whether you can welcome those sensations, because it's all information. The more information we have, the more we've got to go on in terms of reconciling with ourselves and finding this equilibrium between the three gunas. So just as an outline, how is your breath? If your breath is feeling, you don't need to change it, just notice it. If your breath is mostly in your chest, if you feel, even while you're sat here, as if you're slightly still moving and on the go, if your mind is racing, or there's tension in your body and you can't wait to stand up and get into the postures, you may well identify with what's called a rijasic state of mind, or state of being, where we're very active, and it can lead into overaction. It's driven by a sense of desire, needs, and fulfilling them, even leading into obsessive states of mind. So if you identify with that feeling, ask yourself, is it within moderation? Of course, we need to feel motivated and momentum in our lives. So this movement, this element of movement is really important. But do you need to draw some of that in check? How comfortable are you with sitting still right now? If you're very comfortable with sitting still right now and you don't really feel like moving at all, you may be in more of a tamasic state of mind, or state of being, where actually, if you were honest with yourself, when you ask how you feel, you might say, I don't know. There might be a sense of being conflicted or even indecisive. So if you feel tamasic, you may well feel kind of worn down and slightly lethargic by this not knowing what to do, maybe even overwhelmed. And with everything that's going on right now, it wouldn't be surprising if all you wanted to do was to curl up into a ball and hibernate until it's all over. And of course, we need tamasic states of being so that we can sleep and have a rest. And you may well be building up to really sort of accessing that state over the festive period. So once again, just checking in with your levels of tamasic being, whether you feel you may be a bit too much or a bit not enough. Now the third state is called sattvic, and it sounds like the ideal state. It's a sense of fulfillment, calm and focus. It's what's seen by the yogic philosophy as our natural state of mind and being, and it helps us to live in harmony with each other. How calm do you feel, and where do you feel it? Now I'd like you to imagine an oil lamp. So it's made out of a heavy metal. And that heaviness is your tamasic state. So perhaps that is your lower limbs, your pelvis. See if you can heavy yourself into the floor. And then bring your focus to the movement of your breath in your belly, the softness of the rise and fall, and perhaps imagine in your belly the oil that's needed to light the lamp, the sense of movement. If we remember last session, a sense of ocean. And then I'd like you to try and stack your spine nice and straight so that you feel your shoulders over your hips and your crown over your chest. Can you picture your spine, each vertebral stacking on top of each other in a nice straight tall column? Slightly lift away from your base with your spinal column. And this is the wick that's leading down into the oil. And when these three things are combined, so that's your heavy tamasic base, the flow of your rijasic oil, and the nice, strong, straight cotton wick, your sattvic state, are together. They produce our flame of existence. See if you can imagine that flame in your mind, a nice bright light. Take a nice deep breath in, raise the arms up overhead and trace the midline down with the palms together. Exhale. Twice more. Inhale, 1. See if you can bring your arms down on a count of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Excellent. Inhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This is equal breath, and then exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Bring the thumbs to the forehead. And once again, return your mind to that flame. So this flame burns away impurities. It shines light into darker corners. Now release the palms down and gently unwrap your legs. And we're going to find ourselves in downward facing dog. So feet hip width apart and parallel to each other. Your sit bones raise up to the sky. So just with the middle area of your body where you have that oil, that rijasic oil, I'd like you to move your hips in circular motions around the mat. So one way and then the other. And then bring your focus to your palms and the soles of the feet. So the tamasic element, the heaviness. Let your body really be held, even a sense of falling into your soles and your palms. Feel that support as you inhale up to the armpits and the creases in the hips. Draw the navel into the spine. So now your spine can be long and symmetrical. Your gaze is down to your toes or through your legs. That nice, long, straight cotton wick. Inhale, clarity. And exhale, calm. Inhale, clarity, stability, and equilibrium. Exhale, ease and harmony and natural state. Inhale, take a look towards the front of the mat and gently, as if you're walking along a tightrope, come so that your palms at the feet are the soles of the feet are hip width, and you soften the knees and come into your first forward fold, shake out the head. Inhale, draw up, lift up, and look up. So we're going to make that candle shape. I'm just going to stand back so that you can see, but you're at the tops of your mats, feet hip width apart. Interlace the fingers and extend the first fingers up away from you, cross the thumbs. Draw your focus now back to your navel as you draw your navel to spine, lengthen the tailbone away. So that's all by engaging the muscles of the pelvis and the abdominal area. So you tilt the pelvis so it's now nice and upright. Then bring your focus to your shoulders and see if you can draw your shoulders away from your ears. Inhale to the flame of your existence above your head. Exhale, draw the shoulders down towards the waist. Inhale, 2. Exhale. We're going to stay here for 5 breaths. Inhale, 3. Tuck the chin in to lengthen the spine. And exhale. Inhale, 4. See if you can smile. Draw your kneecaps up to your thighs. Exhale. Inhale, 5. And exhale. Let the palms come down and we're going to swan dive into a forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step the right knee back and lower down. Inhale, let the arms come back first and come up so you feel the chest lift. Inhale, draw your right hip forwards. Exhale, the belly away from the thigh. Inhale, 2. Exhale, one more breath here. Inhale, 3. Exhale, palms come down either side of the front foot. Tuck the back toes and step back into plank. Lower down to the earth. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, tuck the toes and come into downward facing dog. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Think about your foundation. Exhale. Inhale. Think about the oil in the belly, all the movement inside you. How can you ever keep track? How can you keep in harmony with yourselves when there's so much that's moving, even beyond our command, even beyond what we think we're doing, beyond what we know? It's come back to the breath. Inhale. Think of that spinal column, long and straight. And exhale. Inhale. We're going to lift the right leg up and step it through. So this time the left knee lowers down, untuck the back toes. Inhale, rotate the arms backwards, lift up through the chest. Exhale, 1. Inhale. Exhale, 2. Inhale. Think about that flame in the forehead. Exhale, 3. Place the palms down, tuck the back toe, and we're actually going to step back into plank. We're going to hold plank for 3 breaths. So spread the fingers nice and wide. Make sure the inside of the elbows face each other. That's at least 1 breath. Let's do 2 more, nice and mindfully. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. See if you can lower down on the exhale. So keep the elbows tucked into the side of the chest. Then bring the arms outside the corners of your mat. So you're spreading them nice and far. And find a place where you can inhale and draw the chest up off the floor. You might need to broaden your legs so that there's a little bit of ease introduced into the lower back here. Just wobble through the hips to release the glutes and ease through that area. So we're going to take 3 breaths here. Inhale through the nose. And then exhale, tuck the chin and stick your tongue out. And force the air out. Inhale, look forward. Deeply through the nose. And then exhale. Let that air be forced out. Inhale, last time. Breathe in through the nose. Exhale. Lovely. Tuck the toes and let yourself come back so the hips come towards the heels. Let the knees come out to mat width and stretch the arms in front of you. So you're coming into an active child's pose. So here we are inhaling from the palms and from the openness in the feet. So your toes are tucked and you feel this openness where the bridge of the foot is. See if you can draw the breath from there and from the fingertips. So here we have this equilibrium of movement, of base, of spinal length. And equally they contribute this sense of harmony in ourselves. Draw the navel in towards the spine and then push up into downward facing dog. Just walk the dog a little bit and then come forward once again into plank. So we're going to lower down, keep the elbows tucked in, and then exhale, let the body release into the earth, so maybe your forehead touches the mat. As you inhale, let the arms draw up and back so you feel your chest lift off the mat. As you exhale, draw the legs into this posture, so this locust pose. You're active. Inhale. The spine is strengthening here. Exhale, keep the lift. Inhale, 2, we're holding it for 5. Exhale, if you like, you can interlace the fingers behind the back and really increase the openness through the chest. Exhale. Inhale, 4. If you do that, you can extend the first fingers down towards the toes and heels. Exhale. Inhale, 5. And exhale, release. So let your right cheek come to the mat. Your legs can spread wide and the palms face up to the ceiling and just feel this rest and release. A rest and release as you lean into the floor. So that was quite a moment of activity and strength. Complement it with a counter pose. A rest and release. So we're going to come into another back bend now. Perhaps just wriggle through the hips left and right. Your knees bent and your feet in the air. And then take a hold of your feet from the outside. You may need to let your knees come apart to do that, but then see if you can draw the knees back together. So we're going to do this step by step, and you just go with wherever your edge is today. So inhale. See if you can draw your shoulders towards your waist. Exhale. Inhale. See if you can really kick your feet into your hands. Your knees don't lift yet. Exhale. So take another inhale. Fill the lungs with air. And as you exhale, you may like to just lift the knees even 1 or 2 centimeters off the mat. Inhale, 1. Exhale, hold it for 5. Inhale, 2. If any discomfort in the lower back, come out. Exhale. Inhale, 3. Exhale. Inhale, 4. Exhale. Inhale, 5. Exhale, release. So we're going to push back into child's pose. Once again with knees wide, toes touching. This time forehead to the floor. And maybe you bend at the elbows, let your forehead come to the backs of the palm. So really breathe in now to the lower part of the back, which was really taking that flexion there. And let it extend as it rolls down now over your pelvis. Your belly melts towards your thighs. Your shoulders drop down towards the earth. Your tongue relaxes. And you check if that flame is still there. Inhale, draw the arms forward, tuck the toes, lift the hips, come into downward facing dog. Walk up to the top of the mat and we'll take a Surya Namaskara A. Inhale, draw all the way up. Exhale, arms to the side, Tadasana. Inhale, lift the arms up, look up. Exhale, fold forwards. Maybe interlace the fingers and let the fists fall over the head. Take the gaze to the belly. Drop the palms, inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, bend the knees, step back into plank. Lower down. Inhale, upward facing dog. So thighs are lifting off the earth. Exhale into downward facing dog. 3 breaths. Inhale, 1. And exhale. Inhale 2, maybe a good time to check in. How are you? Where do you feel something? Exhale. Maybe you feel differently in your shoulders than you do in your belly. Inhale 3. And exhale. Inhale, take your gaze to the top of the mat and step up to the top, halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, draw up, look up. Exhale, release the palms down. I'd like you to let yourself come down to a kneeling position, and we're going to come into camel. So quite a lot of back bending going on. This is so that we feel openness and lift in the chest. We can express ourselves much better when we feel less constriction across our chest and our throat area. So tuck the toes and feel your heels lift up a little into the air, and then place the palms either side of the spine to encourage the hips to stack across the knees. Inhale, sweep the left arm back, and exhale. See if you can reach back towards your heels. If this is feeling beyond what you're comfortable with today, simply keep the pressure against the lower back, supporting the area where you may be dumping the weight into. So try and extend the curve of the spine, not just into this little crease here of the lumbar spine, but let it sort of be shared more equally through the thoracic spine as well. So you get a nice good bend throughout the back. So once you've extended your right and your left arm down towards the heel, if that's where you're going, then see if you can draw the hips forward once again so they stack over your knees. Gaze can be directly in front, or take it up to where the wall and the ceiling meet. Inhale. Smile. Exhale. 5 breaths here. Inhale. 2. Exhale. Feel the freedom in the chest. Inhale. 3. Exhale. Inhale. 4. Exhale. Inhale. 5. And exhale. So we need to come out really carefully. One by one, place the palm at the base of the spine to support yourself as you come back up. Then we're going to let the heels come to one side, sit the sit bones down, extend the legs out, and then bring the soles of the feet together into Baddha Konasana. What we're going to do is simply round down so that we feel the spine gets a nice extension after that deep flexion. You can always hold your head in your hands by propping up on your elbows. If you need a cushion underneath your elbows to do that, please just grab one from the sofa. 3 breaths here. Inhale, 1. Exhale. Inhale, 2. Exhale. Inhale, 3. Exhale. Inhale, draw all the way up. So now draw your knees together. You may want to lift them with your palms and spread your feet a little bit further forward. We want the fingertips just pointing towards your hips, about a hand's length away from your hips, so that when you push up, your palms are going to be underneath your shoulders. The fingertips pointing forward and spread nice and widely. You're going to be taking weight through your arms. Inhale, fill the belly with breath. And then on an exhale, simply push through the feet and feel the hips lift up off the ground. Now, you might like, if your neck allows it, just to shake your head out a little bit and see what it feels like to drop your head back. Usually I say don't do that, but I'd like you to really encourage that openness through the throat. Inhale, 1. Exhale. When you're ready, you can bring your gaze back up to where the ceiling and the wall meet without any tension, so try and smile through that movement. Inhale, 2. Keep the glutes working. Exhale. Inhale, 3. And exhale. So let hips come down. And just draw yourself, fold yourself over the knees for a moment. So take a little counter posture and release through the arms and through the spine. Nice deep belly breath or two here. And then draw yourselves back up and draw the feet together. So it's a very similar posture to this one, but it's called a reverse plank. So once again, place the fingertips behind you. This time what we're going to do is when we exhale and lift up the hips, is extend the legs nice and straight in front of us. Inhale, 1. So you inhale from your toes all the way along your front body. Exhale. Inhale, 2. Exhale. 5 breaths. Inhale, 3. Exhale. Inhale, 4. Exhale. Inhale, 5. And then exhale gently, let the hips come down to the ground. Draw the toes towards you and draw yourself up into Dandasana. Refocus. Inhale, feel the heaviness of yourself. So you're contained. What contains you? Exhale. Inhale, follow the flow of the breath in the belly. And connect with what moves you. Exhale. Inhale, think of the length of the spine, that wick of the oil lamp. There's vertebra track on top of vertebra. Exhale. Inhale, draw the arms up, interlace the fingers, perhaps cross the opposite thumb to before, and make that same flame shape with palms overhead. Exhale. Inhale, reach up with the arms, extend the spine. Exhale. 2 more breaths here. Belly is drawing in, supporting the lumbar spine. Inhale. Exhale. 1 more breath here. Inhale. And then exhale. Reach forward. So you're drawing a line from the ceiling to the wall in front of you. You're really long in your spine. Hold it where you feel as if there's a point where your back is going to start to bend and round forward. So if you keep strong in the navel and draw the navel first down to the earth, you can keep straight in the spine. Release the fingertips down to wherever it feels most comfortable. So it might be the toes, the ankles, or the shins. Inhale, lift the chest up, and then exhale, round forwards. Inhale, 1. Exhale. Inhale, 2. 3 breaths here. Exhale. Inhale, 3. And exhale. Inhale, draw the palms down to the side and then lift the hips into the middle of the mat. Bend the knees and gently lower the spine down to the earth. So place the feet about hip width apart, toes pointing forward, and check that you can press down on the base of the big toe, the base of the little toe, and the heel with equal pressure. Check in with yourselves and how you're doing, whether you feel as if the practice is adjusting your levels of tamas, rajas, and sattvic so that they are in a more equal distribution, not one for sort of more dominant over the others. Release into the earth. Press down with the palms into the ground. Inhale, draw the navel in towards the earth and start to round the tailbone up. And then exhale, send the knees forwards and simply float the hips up. Keep your gaze upright to protect the neck and feel the chest rise towards the chin. Draw the glutes towards each other. Inhale and watch the belly expand. With the exhale, release down vertebra by vertebra into the earth. Inhale, let the belly draw down into the earth and start to curl the tailbone up, so pelvis tilt. Then with your exhale, float the hips up once again. Feel your thighs activate. Your knees draw away from you and lengthen the space in the front body. Inhale, watch the rib cage as the intercostal muscles separate. The diaphragm pulls down to make space and more air in your chest. And on your exhale, float back down to the earth. Perhaps it feels as if the earth is slowing coming to you. That's a really welcome slow movement. If you've done that, that's wonderful. One more time. Inhale, draw the navel into the earth. Start to roll the tailbone. Exhale, float the hips up. This time, inhale and draw the arms up overhead. And see how that accentuates the sense of length in the front body. You're going to hold up here for 3 breaths. Exhale. Keep the knees drawing together and heavy down the inside, the insteps of the foot. Inhale. 2. Exhale. Perhaps even wriggle a bit left and right. Inhale, 3. And exhale. When your hips come to the ground and the earth, let the arms come either side. Take your gaze over to your left and let the knees fall over to the right. So a little spinal twist. If you want a little bit more, you can extend your top leg and see if you can catch it. That's your top left leg. Catch it in your right hand. Push your heel away from you. Inhale. Open the back seams of that leg. Breathe through the back of the knee. Exhale. See if you just check that you haven't got any tension in the shoulder girdle. Release into the earth as you wring your spine through in this twist. You can start to release a little bit of the focus on the breath, but just keep aware of it, trace it a little bit. And see if you can just gently encourage it to be a belly breath, even in a twist. So these asana, how can you breathe comfortably in challenging position? Really nice metaphor for how yoga off the mat can assist us. How can you breathe comfortably in challenging situations? We only know when a situation is challenging and when we admit to ourselves that it is. So every time we think about building our human strength, we need to acknowledge our human weakness too. Build from a place of honesty. And like the 3 little pigs, the one who built on firm ground with strong materials, solid materials, that was the place to put up the best response to challenges. So to come out of the pose, just release your bind if you had it and stack the knees on top of each other. And then let the knees lift up and the gaze goes upright. And if you want a little bit of that fluidity of movement, then just let the knees windscreep wide, left and right, ease through the hips. Until your knees come over to the left, your gaze goes over to the right, and then you extend your top right leg. Take a hold of it in the left palm if that's available to you. And then take the gaze over to the right fingertips, and again, check in with your shoulder girdle. This habitual checking, or this checking in, it may become habitual. And again, you can take it with you off the mat. When you are able to check in with yourselves off the mat, how are my shoulders? Are they tense? Are they relaxed? You become able to read yourselves in all situations. If you're starting to feel tense, It's really positive to address it early on rather than to let it build. So remember these little tips, these little insights into how to let the sort of footprint of your yoga practice on the mat really kind of follow you when you roll it up and put it away. Okay, lovely. Bend the knees and then let them draw back upright. So let them come over to one side. We're going to inhale and come back so that we can come into a plank for one last time. So place the palms underneath the shoulders, step back, inhale, exhale, lower down, inhale, upward facing dog, exhale, downward facing dog. So our two most restorative postures today that we're going to take are going to be pigeon and then shavasana. Inhale, lift the right leg up high. Exhale, draw it forwards to the outer edge of your right foot. So your right palm, so that your knee comes to the outer edge of your right palm. Inhale and look up. And if you want the extra challenge, draw your hands up and back, interlace the fingers, and find that flame. Then exhale, see if you can reach forwards towards the earth. Place the palms and then let the forehead draw down. 5 breaths. Count by yourselves and take your time. Release into the earth. And enjoy this release through the hips and the pelvis. So we hold a lot of emotion and tension, emotional tension through the pelvic area, which often means that pigeon is a wonderful release for us. It's very honest, and it might represent some challenges. See if you can welcome those challenges, welcome that information. Let's draw back up. Draw the left foot forwards, extend the right leg back and come into pigeon on the other side. So if you want once again to inhale and let the arms lift and extend up. And then roll forwards in the pelvis, keep the back long, then place the palms and come back down. And look, if pigeon is not really very available to you, you're in pigeon, remember 5 breaths, and you can bend the knees up and simply come into a nice seated version. So just feel as if you're having somebody push your knee away from you. And that should release a little through the same areas, okay? You can do 5 breaths one side and the other. So those of you in pigeon on the left-hand side, perhaps take one more nice mindful breath. And then exhale. I'd like you to draw both legs in front of you. Extend the legs out in front. Wriggle your palms underneath your glutes. Draw your elbows towards each other and lift up your chest and let the head draw back once again with mindful awareness. Openness in the neck, really breathe into the neck, the throat. Let the toes point away from you. And perhaps think of what color you are right now, what sort of vibe you have. It's often this sort of turquoise color is associated with really kind of the best sort of expression in this throat area. So see if you can draw that color now towards your throat. Sort of color of a beautiful ocean. When you're ready, remove your elbows from underneath you. Lower your back down and spread your palms so that they face upwards. Roll your shoulders towards your hips. Lift your hips and roll them towards, lift them towards your heels. so that you're long on the back of the mat. So let your legs come wide and draw down into Shavasana. So if you have a little longer to spend in Shavasana, you may want to pop a pair of socks next to your jumper, or you have a blanket over you to keep the heat of your practice with you. This is like a sort of sacred heat. It burns away the impurities, and it lights the areas that need shining on. So you, with this candle metaphor once again, as you come towards a meditative relaxation state, see if you can let your mind's eye really hold the image of the flickering candle. Just like us, a candle is never real, the flame is never still. It constantly changes. And according to the sort of philosophies of that we've been looking at today, to keep our candle alight and as bright as possible, we need to have the best equilibrium between our states of movement, of stillness, and of clear intent. See if for a moment you can feel your whole body as a flame or a source of light. All around us, there are surfaces like the moon that can reflect the shine, and they then become sources of light themselves. Offer the shine without reservation or judgment, and know that the shine will come back to you. Perhaps when you feel like you're in your night or the dark, when you might need it the most. Have faith that everything will be okay. Everything manifests when the conditions are right for it. Ask yourselves one more time, how are you? Perhaps there's no words, only feelings of lightness or possibility, perhaps even intention. And then begin to let your senses unravel like ribbons as they fall away from you. Unfurl your sense of touch, your perception of heat in your body. Let yourselves detect sound from a little further away, perhaps outside the window or in another room, even your next door neighbors or on the road. And then gradually open your eyes and see if you can take in your space, something different about it. Draw your knees up, roll over to one side, and then inhale, come up to seated. Come back to an easy seated position. We'll take 3 breaths to consolidate the practice. Inhale, breathe in. Exhale, draw in. Once again, inhale, breathe in. Exhale, collect in, hold and draw in. One more time. Inhale, breathe in. Exhale, release the tension in the body. Perhaps even smile as you gently tuck your chin and bow the head. Close your practice with a sense of gratitude towards yourselves and humility towards the lessons that we've got to learn here. And then exhale. Namaste. Great. Well, thank you very, very much for joining me for this practice. I hope you've enjoyed it. All the very best. Take care. Keep well.